We're on with Dave Gorman. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm not bad for a boy. How's everything going?
It's all going very well, thank you.
You must be sick of talking to people like me.
Not in the slightest.
No, well, I mean, I do feel this. You know, I do a lot of these interviews, and I just think you must just hate me already.
Why do you think that? You've got a low self-esteem problem here. Come on, man.
Well, I have a small manhood, you see.
Okay, well then, now I understand.
I mean, it's to be expected, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, in my private life, I can't please people. On the radio, people boo and hiss.
Really?
And I fear that you might...
That's not just bad reception?
They need to stick another transmitter up. I'm not exactly booming out of people's woofers all the time.
I've no idea what you're talking about now. You're starting to witter, man. There seems to be, I think, a low self-esteem problem with Swansea. You're sitting there saying, you must hate me before I've even said hello. People everywhere. I'm recording a show in Swansea soon on September the 2nd at Swansea Grand doing this show, and everyone I've met who's from Swansea has said, why on earth are you doing it there? Everyone seems to have this low self-esteem issue. I think it's a nice town. I think you're lovely. I'm looking forward to coming.
Well,
be a bit more positive, man. Come on.
Showbiz. Tits and teeth. When the red light's on, showbiz smiles and all of that.
Good. More like it.
Now, listen, you're coming to Swansea. Why are you coming to Swansea?
Why? Because I think it's a really nice theatre. One of the things, when they're touring a show normally, you kind of go where you're wanted. Theatres book you, and you have to try and find dates at work, and you don't have that much choice in which venues you end up playing in. But when we're doing this to record for a DVD, you start with a blank canvas and you say, where would you like to go? And you actually choose the venue yourself. And basically, I wanted to go to a town where the show hadn't yet played, and I wanted to go to a town where the theatre was really gorgeous, because we're recording it and you want it to look nice. So rather than do it in some kind of 70s concrete monstrosity, which many theatres these days are, I wanted to do it in a good old-fashioned, tiered Victorian old theatre.
It is beautiful.
And that's what the Grand is. It's beautiful. So that's the reason.
And I got to tell you, I mean, I do a lot of work with the Swansea Grand, and the audiences are amazing. I mean, I've been to the repertory season the last few weeks. I've had all the big stars on, Sue Pollard, you know, all the big stars, and they sell out every night. The audiences love to laugh. They're great audiences. Have you found in the past you've gone down well and they laugh at you?
Normally, that's what happens.
That's a relief.
Normally, I go down well and people laugh.
You must be so relieved when people... You see, I try and make people laugh, and they just tend to... You know, I was going to be a stand-up comedian, but they told me to sit down. I mean...
Well, I don't know. How many goes did you give it? Are you really serious about this as a career choice?
I think not, really.
No, I'm guessing you're not.
Gigolo,
really.
I think, is the way forward.
Yeah. No, I love doing the show, and it's always a pleasure for me to be doing it. And I don't know, a nice theatre. I wanted to do it in a place that's fun to work in as well. And that's what the old theatres are always more fun from the on-stage perspective as well. They look gorgeous when you stood on stage. And they're much more exciting to play in. And because it's the one we're recording, this is going to be the permanent record of this show. I wanted to do it in the best place possible. What
kind of pressure does that put on you? Because, I mean, you know, every day I have a chance to woo my audience again.
Yeah.
With a DVD, I know you're doing the show twice on the 2nd of September, but, I mean, if you're not funny, or the audiences aren't great, or your material's not up to it, it's too late, isn't it? Because you can't afford to do it again.
It is, but you know what? I've done this show so often. I started this show in Australia. Then I came back to Britain with it and did it in Edinburgh. Then I toured Britain with it. Then I went back to Australia for a second tour. Then I toured it again in the UK. In between times, I've been to Aspen, Colorado in the States. I've been to Toronto and Montreal. I reckon if you can make the people in Canada, Australia, America and the rest of Britain laugh, Swansea shouldn't be that tough a nut to crack.
You see, you're bragging all these places. I've only ever been to Bristol.
Have you really?
Yes.
You should get out more, mate.
I really should try.
You really should.
Help me with your material, because I know you're not really a joke man, are you? You don't really do jokes.
I tell true stories. And you know when you're watching a regular comic and he says, I was walking down the road the other day, you know he wasn't, because it's just a joke, and that's fine. What I do is tell true stories, and they're so far-fetched, people wouldn't believe me unless I provide the proof. So I also provide the proof. So when I say I went to France on Thursday, I'll show you a boarding card that proves I actually did go to France on the day I told you I went to France. And basically, that's where it starts from. But because really extreme things happen to me, and not always pleasant things, people tend to find it funny.
Do you want my favourite true story?
Go on.
My mother went into John Lewis for some drawer liners for her knife drawer. And the lady said, no, we don't sell them on this floor. She was in kitchenware. So go up to floor 2. So up she went. The lady will be waiting for you at the checkout. She handed her panty liners.
Drawer one-liners, very good.
When she said to her, I normally only use wallpaper, God knows what that woman thinks. You couldn't make it up. That is a true story. I promise you on my mother's life.
I believe you, because I know that the truth is funnier than the fiction.
It's just, you couldn't make that kind of story up, could you? You couldn't think of it. And do you find that goes down better now then? I mean, the only one doing it really, I mean, there's Ken Dodd who's just amazing and can still pull audiences, and the new one is really Peter Kay that does jokes.
Yeah.
Do you not want to do jokes?
No, I'm not interested in jokes. If you work in an office, and on Monday morning there's two guys coming to work, and one of them says to you, I had the most amazing weekend, I heard a great joke. And the other person says to you, I had the most amazing weekend, I went to Japan. Who are you going to talk to? Who's going to be the most entertaining conversation?
Do you know, you ought to be in radio management. I've never thought of it that way. You're quite right.
Jokes are something that, you know, I like a good joke. I go and watch a lot of stand-up comics. I'm not saying that they're not funny. I'm just saying it's not as interesting and as funny for me. And the truth is always funnier. Who
do you pull as your audience?
I don't pull my audience. That's a rumour. That's a scurrilous tabloid story.
No, you nearly did a joke then.
Well, stop confusing me. What am I allowed to say to you? It's also the truth. I don't.
So, hang on a minute. You've never slept with anybody in your audience?
No.
You've never slept with a fan?
Well, no. A girlfriend's been to see a show. So that's not the same thing at all.
Now we have a problem. You're lying to me, you see.
No, I'm not.
So you've only ever slept with one person who's been to see you, and that's your girlfriend?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, man? If I was the guy that could pull 2,000 people in a theatre, I would get laid every night.
Would you?
Honestly.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, really, I'm the ugliest man on the radio. There's no hidden agenda with that. We know this. This is a fact, 27 stone of muscle. And, you know, it's very hard to pull because nobody knows who you are. But if you've got all that audience literally eating out of the palms of your hands, and you don't take ladies up on it.
I'm afraid I don't. I find... maybe, you know, strange thing to be saying on a radio show like this, where, you know, it's going to be nice and flippant. Maybe I'm more interested in a stable relationship than yourself.
Well, congratulations. You're the first man in show business I've ever met that doesn't want to sleep with fans. That's just unbelievable.
I'm probably not the first one you've met. I'm probably the first one who's told it to you.
Good Lord.
I'd like to think.
That is remarkable. Dave Gorman, what a thrill it's been to talk to you, and I'm staggered.
Well, you know... I think what we've established here is if you want to come to the show, it's on the 2nd of September, it will be funny, and you can't sleep with me.
No, I mean, my flabber has never been so gasted.
Well, there you go.
I mean...
And I tell you what, you definitely can't sleep with me.
No, well, I'd rather not, if you don't mind. I'll try wife first.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Especially with your bad back.
All right, mate.
And my legs. I don't think it'll work. Dave Gorman then is performing Dave Gorman's Google Whack Adventure. I don't know what that means, but he's doing it for the final time in the UK at the Swansea Grand Theatre, September 2nd, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. I'm going to come and see you. It's for the Christmas DVD, which will be out. 01792 475 715 is the box office number. 01792 475 715 to get tickets to see Dave Gorman. And are you expecting any Dave Gormans in the audience?
I'm no longer looking for them. If they come along, it's always a pleasure to see them.
Will you ask?
No, it's not part of this show.
Oh, right. Okay. If they offer the information, will you talk to them?
Not during the show, because it's not what this show's about.
Right. Okay.
So that would be a weird thing to interrupt a story. You can't assume that everyone else in the theatre knows that I did that. So I always think it's a slightly strange thing to want to bring to the attention of the audience. But if they come along, normally what happens is, I stopped looking for Dave Gorman 4 years ago, but they haven't stopped looking for me. I tried to meet 54, and I succeeded in meeting 54, and then I stopped. And I've now met 106 because they keep on coming to me. But normally what happens if they come along to a show is they come along very politely at the end and say, excuse me, I'm Dave Gorman as well. And it's always a pleasure to meet them. Never met one I didn't like.
But you won't sleep with them?
No.
www.davegorman.com. Thank you so much for talking to us today at Scarlet FM. Mate.